Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining this evening. It's so nice to see so many people coming on. I'm going to give it a moment while everybody joins, and I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. So please type that in the chat and let me know. I see lots of different people that are joining, many different places around Ontario. Welcome. Okay, I'll get started now. My name is Chelsea DeCole. I'm a certified nutritional practitioner or holistic nutritionist. I'm an educator with Jamieson Wellness. And outside of my time with Jamieson, I enjoy the beautiful Okanagan Valley where I live in British Columbia. I spend lots of time outdoors with my husband and our sweet dog who's named Cider. Today, I am going to be talking all about multivitamins. So, this is a multivitamin 101. I want to thank Healthy Planet for having me on to do this webinar for all of you in joining. And I'll let you know that this is being recorded and it will be shared out afterwards. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to type them in the chat or the Q&A, and I will get to those at the very end. All right, let's get going. Now, health and wellness decisions can be very confusing. There's a lot of information and misinformation out there. The internet is a wonderful place that allows us to have a lot of information at our fingertips, but we can get overloaded and feel overwhelmed with how to actually make an informed decision about what our bodies truly need. And we are busy. We have deadlines that we're needing to meet at work, personal goals that we want to accomplish. There are family and friends to spend time with, housework that needs to be tended to. The list really goes on. And we want to be there to be the best version of ourselves so that we can have those really meaningful connections with the people in our lives. We want to be healthier so that we can be our best selves for our loved ones and to really bring the most to our lives. And even though we try to be healthy, we try to eat right and learn different ways to support ourselves, like attending this Healthy Planet webinar, sometimes our bodies tell us a different story. It could be low energy, poor sleep, getting colds and flus, which is something that we're seeing more this time of year, perhaps feeling bloated, having digestive issues, and living in pain. Some of these are realities that we're facing, and it could be currently, or perhaps we're on that path to experiencing in the future. So today, I want to show you how to bring more energy and vibrancy to your life, regardless of what age you're at, how to best support your wellness needs with core nutrition, what key nutrients are essential to overall wellness, how to choose a multivitamin that's best for you and your loved ones, and give you some easy lifestyle tips for a healthier you. So, we're going to spend the next hour talking about how you can take control of your health and become a better, healthier version of you. And regardless of whatever life stage you're in, perhaps you're a young adult that's just graduated, now going on to university and beginning to navigate what career to do. It could be somebody who's in their late 60s, perhaps you're retired or retiring soon. Doesn't matter what age and life stage you're at, the foundation of our health always remains the same. And we have foundations or pillars of health that support and optimize our health. So now I want to ask you a question. What are the pillars of health? Is it sleep, stress, nutrition, activity, or all of the above? Feel free to put that into the chat now. I'll see what types of answers we're getting. I can see from this group that you're all very intelligent and you have guessed correctly. It is all of the above. There are so many pillars to our health, and just like our home needs a good structure and foundation to support us and the functions that take place within our homes, our health needs to be the same. The four pillars of health are similar to that home's solid foundation. These pillars are nutrition, exercise, sleep, and managing stress. The way you support your foundation on a day-to-day basis will reflect how much support you need in terms of supplementation. So let's take a look at how we can support our foundations. Unfortunately, we have a nutrition problem here in Canada, and it shows in our health. According to a global study on disease, unhealthy eating is the leading risk for death and the second leading risk for disability within Canada. The World Health Organization estimates that 63% of deaths worldwide result from diseases like cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, and obesity. And key drivers of this unhealthy eating pattern in Canadians are increased consumption of things like processed foods that are high in calories, in salt, sugar, and saturated fat, and then a lack of having whole grains, nuts, seeds, legumes, and fruit and vegetables. For example, 75% of Canadians surpass the recommended dietary salt intake, and over half of Canadians are consuming diets above the recommended sugar and saturated fat levels. Now, all of this might sound a little bit scary and a little bit depressing, but we are just really trying to make that connection. So we've covered the link between our diet or our nutrition and disease, and we know the food we put in our body directly impacts our body's resilience. Food can either cause disease or it can reduce or prevent disease. And at the end of the day, there is no such thing as just one best diet. It really comes down to consistency. Cutting out entire food groups is setting you up for long-term failure, and I don't recommend that as a nutritionist. When it comes to the best diet, it's most important to be mindful of our macronutrients, so carbohydrates, protein, and fats. So let's take a look at this image on your screen a little bit more closely. We can see many servings of fruits and vegetables, but in general, more vegetables on the plate, and it's filling half of the plate. There are a variety of colors. We've got greens, reds, purples, yellows. By eating a variety of colors, you get a different variety of vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients. Then we've got a quarter of the plate with whole grains. Now, what does a whole grain mean? It means that the fibers have not been removed and it's not been refined. This helps us keep ourselves feeling more full. It doesn't spike our blood sugars as much as refined grains like white bread and white pastas. Now, moving on to protein, we can see there are different sources of protein: eggs, legumes, lentils, tofu, and meat. Making sure that you have enough protein is really important. Protein is a source of amino acids, which are the building blocks for different components of the body. Protein keeps us feeling full. It also is important for our hair, skin, and nails, our organs, and our muscle tissue. We want to aim for about 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. To find out how much protein you need per day, start to learn how much protein is actually in the foods that you're eating. It can be helpful to track this in order to understand what types of foods you should be consuming to meet your specific needs. Now, there's one thing that's missing from this plate, and it would be a really small sliver of healthy fats. Now, we don't want to have too much fat, but fats are really important for our body. They're another source of energy. They help us stay feeling full. So, that would be one thing that I would ensure that you're adding on a daily basis. And thinking about nutrition, it's also important to think about hydration. In fact, 33% of people are not properly hydrated. We need about 2 to 4 liters of water per day, but individual needs will vary significantly. More water is needed for people who live in dry environments, like myself in the Okanagan during the summer months. More active people are going to need more because they're exercising, they're sweating more, and so they just need to replenish. Consumption of dehydrating substances like caffeine and alcohol are yet other reasons why you would need to hydrate more. When we're dehydrated, we feel more fatigued, we can get headaches, we tend to even eat more when we're not even hungry. Our skin and our eyes can get dry, and our muscles can cramp more easily. Now, I want you to remember that nutrition is truly self-care. It's not meant to be punishment. So don't punish yourself for decisions that you've made. Rather, look forward to helping yourself to feel better through the choices that you're making and the foods that you're eating. So start by adding healthier foods rather than restricting yourself. It could be adding in one new vegetable to your regular rotation of foods when you're shopping in the grocery store. It could be drinking one extra glass of water per day. Or it could be calculating how much protein you need and then trying to slowly match that on a daily basis. Actions like this will eventually lead to much bigger changes in your nutrition and your overall health. Now, moving on to the second pillar. How much exercise do we actually need? We've been told from our doctors to exercise, but why? Well, immediately after exercising, our thinking can be improved, we have reduced anxiety, and even better sleep. And then long term, exercise can help with weight management, it improves heart health, and it also helps to strengthen our muscles and bones. And this last part is so important as we age. Exercise can slow the loss of bone density, which occurs as we get older. And muscle strengthening from exercise can help maintain muscle mass and reduce the risks of falling and getting injured. So, how much do we actually need per day or per week? Well, around 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity per week. So that's as little as 30 minutes a day for 5 days in your work week. Staying motivated to exercise can be quite difficult, but so we can often benefit from being part of a group who can move together. Groups also can be virtual if it's something that's more convenient for your lifestyle, but groups really help to motivate us and they keep us accountable. Even just having one accountability buddy can help someone by sending a simple text message to remind you of your goals. They don't even need to be there in person or work out with you, but that accountability really matters. And wearable health technology can encourage us to show up and see our results in real time, even if it's simple as tracking steps and aiming for 10,000 steps a day. I know for myself, if I can keep track with my cell phone or a smart watch and see that I'm perhaps a little bit behind on my steps, or I'm almost at that 10,000 or 15,000 mark, it certainly motivates me to want to get out and make sure that I reach that goal by the end of the day. And then we've got sleep. 50% of adults have trouble falling or staying asleep. And 20% of people are actually waking up unrefreshed in the morning, with 33% having difficulty actually staying awake during the day because of their sleep issues. Sleep is impacting our cognition. When we don't sleep well, we often can't learn as well. We have problems with memory, trouble making decisions, and solving problems. Sleep is really integral in mood regulation, and lack of sleep can increase our risk of chronic diseases. Plus, it's really critical for proper immune response. So there are some really helpful tips for getting a better sleep. Maintaining the same timing for going to bed and waking up, not exercising too close to bedtime, avoiding long naps, removing caffeine from the second half of your day, and then making sure that you're setting yourself up with a proper bedtime routine, winding down, making sure that your bedroom is quiet, it's dark, it's cool, using a sleep mask. That's one of my favorites. I also wear earplugs. And then if you can't sleep, get out of bed, go to a lit room, read a book for a little while, and then try to go back to sleep. All of these can really set you up for better sleep patterns. And it's not surprising that most of us might be feeling like we're being held together by a loose thread. And at any given moment, that can snap and our whole world can come tumbling down. So, what is stress? Well, it's a natural response by our body to prevent us from being in danger. When you're feeling threatened, our body releases life-saving hormones like cortisol that enable us to run away when we are in danger. It causes our body to react, so our heart's going to start pumping, our muscles are going to be more activated. Hormones like epinephrine, also known as adrenaline, are going to help us so that we can survive. But this mechanism can become dysfunctional. Our body doesn't do a good job of differentiating between real life-threatening situations and just simulation. For instance, our body will react the same to a looming deadline as it does to a wild animal chasing us. As a result, we may be feeling stressed throughout the day while we're just sitting at our desk, replying to those time-sensitive emails or working on a project. Or while we're in the kitchen trying to finish making dinner, or even when you're waiting at the doctor's office to be seen. So, how do we manage stress and these situations that don't necessarily need the benefits of cortisol? You are a human being. It's unrealistic to assume that we can be on the go all of the time. So, this is where using certain tools can really help us manage our stress. Taking a break, even if it's very brief, can be so helpful in managing stress. Making time for the things that you love to do, like your hobbies. Practicing gratitude, and that can be as simple as just thinking of three things that you're grateful for every single day. And then practicing deep breathing. We forget to breathe and really breathe deep breaths. I'm a really big fan of box breathing. So that's where you take a breath in for 4 seconds, then you hold for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and then repeat. And you can do multiple cycles of that. And find that it's very calming. Now, take a look at what we need in the way of nutrients to support our bodies day to day. We've already discussed our macronutrients, those carbohydrates, those proteins, and those fats. Now we need to look at our micronutrients. Vitamins support everything that is happening in our bodies. They're called micronutrients because we need them in smaller amounts than our macronutrients. They support functions and health of our immune system, our vision, our skin, our nerves, our blood system, our bone development, our digestive system, and wound healing. So we're going to go through these alphabetically, starting with vitamin A. So this vitamin is found in meat and vegetables like liver, cheese, eggs, and lots of orange-colored vegetables, plus spinach. Retinol is the form of vitamin A that's found in animal products, while beta carotene comes from plants. And it functions to help in our growth and development within our cells. It supports eye development and our vision, and it's really important for embryo and fetal development, plus our immune function. Next, we've got our B vitamins. We have 8 different B vitamins that support our body's functioning. Sources from foods are rich in protein, so things like meat, dairy, nuts, beans, grains, and seeds. And B vitamins act as coenzymes for cell functions. They're supporting normal nervous system function, as well as helping with our metabolism and converting carbohydrates, fats, and proteins from food into fuel, and providing us with energy throughout the day. Vitamin C is so well known that it needs very little explanation, but I'll share some in any ways. So, vitamin C is found in high amounts in citrus fruits, in kiwi, in tomatoes, berries, and peppers. And it's a very potent antioxidant. It's really essential for enzyme reactions, in collagen formation, in our energy production, also regulating how our genes turn on and off, and of course for immune support. And because vitamins like vitamin C and our B vitamins are water soluble, our bodies can't actually hold on to them for very long. They get flushed out of our systems. And so, therefore, we need to continually consume them from our food or supplements in order to maintain those levels. And then, when our body's in certain conditions, like being stressed or sick, we actually go through them faster, and therefore, we need to replenish them. Then we have vitamin D, our sunshine vitamin. This is the only vitamin that our body can actually make through exposure to the sun. Now, this is only naturally found in a few foods, like fatty fish, mushrooms, and eggs. Otherwise, foods are often fortified and that vitamin is added into them, like in cereals, in milk products, etc. And vitamin D is really important for our immune function as well as supporting bone health. It's promoting the appropriate balance of calcium and phosphorus within our body. It's also supporting muscle function and helps nerve messaging between our brain and our body. And then we've got vitamin E. So food sources for vitamin E includes nuts, seeds, fish, avocado, and leafy greens. And this is a fat-soluble antioxidant. So fats are integral part of our cell membrane. So think our whole body, all of the cells in our body. But they are very vulnerable to free radical damage. And that's why we need potent antioxidants like vitamin E. Vitamin E is also really important for normal red blood cell formation. And it also supports our immune function. Now we're looking at the other half of those important micronutrients, minerals. They are equally important to vitamins. They're helping the body function in many, many different ways. And they're called either macro minerals or micro trace minerals, depending on how much our body needs of them. And they have so many different functions like fluid regulation, bone structure, muscle movement, nerve functioning, helping with our stomach acid, enzyme function, our blood system, our immune health, protein building, and our hormone health. So they are small but very mighty in terms of how they help our bodies. So first we've got calcium. This is the most abundant mineral in the body. Food sources are dairy, fish, tofu and soy products, kale, almonds, and sesame seeds. And calcium's needed for the maintenance of normal bones and teeth, for adequate calcium intake to help prevent osteoporosis. It's also a key player in helping manage our muscle function, and over 99% of the body's calcium supply is found in the bones and teeth where it supports that structure. The other 1% is found in our blood and our soft tissue. Next, we've got magnesium, and this is found in a variety of foods like nuts, seeds, bananas, and even chocolate. As if you need another reason to have chocolate, but here you go. So if you ever feel like you're low on magnesium, just have a little bit of chocolate. And magnesium is involved in over 600 essential metabolic reactions, including energy production. It's also supporting muscle function and proper heart muscle function because our heart is also a muscle. It helps in bone development and maintenance, and roughly 50 to 60% of magnesium in the human body is found in our skeleton, and the remainder is found in soft tissue like our muscles. I bet you thought that that was in reverse because we typically associate magnesium more with muscles than we do with bones, but those two minerals are working very closely with our bones. Next is iron. So iron is really rich in meats as well as leafy greens, and iron is another mineral that's often fortified into foods. Now, when we think about the sources of iron, there's heme iron and non-heme iron. So heme iron, which is the more easily absorbed form of iron, is found in meat products, and the non-heme iron is what's found in leafy greens and other vegetables and plant matter. So when you think of it in those terms, you can understand why people who are vegan or vegetarian might often have more of an iron deficiency because they're eating more plants, and that form of iron is a little bit harder for the body to digest and absorb. Now, iron is important because it's a component of enzymes and proteins that are supporting a lot of essential body functions, like our oxygen transport, energy production, and DNA, also supporting proper red blood cell formation and function, and preventing iron deficiency anemia. And iron deficiency anemia is one of the most common conditions of iron deficiency. So it's when the body lacks enough healthy red blood cells. Our red blood cells and the hemoglobin within our red blood cells are required to carry oxygen to our body tissues. So, a lot of the common symptoms that people see if they have iron deficiency anemia is that they're really tired and they're short of breath. And the last mineral I'm going to focus on is zinc. This is that trace mineral, so it's much smaller amounts that we need of it versus other minerals, but is very mighty in its function. It's found in meat, and especially in shellfish like oysters at very high levels. It's also found in seeds, nuts, and things like oats. It's important for growth and development, for vision and reproduction. It helps with our connective tissue formation and wound healing, helps in energy metabolism, supporting healthy skin, and helping to maintain our immune function. So that's why you'll often see vitamins like vitamin C and zinc in combination in supplements that are supporting our bodies when we're going through cold and flu because of that support for our immune function. Now, you may ask the question, are multivitamins even necessary? The majority of people benefit from adding a multivitamin to their foundational health regime. So, yes, it is something that everybody can take benefit from. How do you know if you need a multivitamin? Well, nutrient deficiencies can show up in ways that affect you both in the short and the long term. For example, depending on the nutrient, you may experience less energy, maybe cramping or some metabolism changes. You might be noticing hair loss, signs that you're aging a little bit faster, perhaps skin issues, low mood, etc. These changes can often be quite subtle, but they are important to note. Several considerations contribute to your health status and signal the need for supplementation. In addition, when it comes to nutrients, factors related to diet, our environment, our age, medications we might be taking, and our overall lifestyle can contribute to the increased need for improved consumption. For example, stressful lives require higher doses of certain nutrients, and also people who have digestive issues can be impacted in terms of the absorption of nutrients into our body. And unfortunately, we're seeing a rise in digestive issues within Canada. Now, as a nutritionist, I always recommend food first, but unfortunately, food alone does not level up when it comes to specific nutrient daily requirements and needs. And you can see in Canada, Health Canada has done a number of surveys over the years. And what it's highlighted is that 10 to 35% of Canadians have smaller inadequacies of certain B vitamins, vitamin C, and zinc, but a lot more Canadians are actually deficient in things like vitamin A, vitamin D, and magnesium and calcium. And we've already learned how important all of those different nutrients are for our bodies. And using these foundational nutrients can be impaired by a lot of factors. Even when someone's eating well and choosing organic wherever possible, it can still be difficult to get the minimum requirements of vitamins and minerals. And now this can be quite a complex concept, but a lot of it comes down to the sourcing of our food. So nutrients begin to reduce in value right after picking. So if you have the ability to have your own garden, then things are obviously going to be more nutrient rich because you can pick them and then use them right away. But soil also matters, the soil that foods are grown in, plus our digestion. As I mentioned, how we absorb and assimilate nutrients is then going to impact how our body can actually use them. But a lot of people are seeing digestive issues now. And agriculture and fertilization techniques tend to use up and deplete specific nutrients from the soil. Pesticides have the potential to decrease minerals in soil and therefore in crops. Processed foods can have lower nutrient content, and this is often why they have to be fortified with nutrients because the natural nutrient level is low. Certain medications can deplete nutrients or even prevent their absorption. And cooking methods can actually also decrease our food's overall nutrient content. So it's important just to be mindful of that. Example in the image is of boiling some vegetables. Now, while boiling is not a bad method in terms of cooking food, if we boil things for too long, a lot of those nutrients will get leached out into the water. We also have to think about our lifespan and how nutrients and our demand for things change as we move through different stages of life. What you need in infancy, your childhood, or your teenage years is going to differ vastly from what you need throughout your main years of your adult life. And then that will also change in what you need as you move into your later stages of adulthood. And if somebody is pregnant or breastfeeding, their needs are going to be vastly different than the average adult. So, although it's recommended that we get the majority of our nutrients from a well-balanced diet that's rich in fruits and vegetables, lean sources of protein, and healthy fats, research evidence suggests that a multivitamin and mineral supplement is a good insurance policy. It can help protect against cancer, cataracts, heart disease, as well as improve immune function. So we know that using supplements can help us to ensure that we're getting what we need. Now, this is where we can talk about Jamieson. So, Jamieson is built on a 100-year heritage. In 2022, we celebrated 100 years as a company. It's Canada's #1 most trusted and loved vitamin, mineral, and supplement brand. Jamieson is available in over 45 countries and regions across the globe. And we really pride ourselves on exceeding regulatory standards through our manufacturing platform. We are continuing to grow as a mineral, vitamin, supplement, and sports nutrition company through all of the demographic trends that we're seeing in the ways that we can support people. Our products are sold in over 36,000 locations, and we have a whole category leading group of brands. So that includes the Jamieson brand, Smart Solutions, Iron Vegan, Progressive, and U Theory. So, Jamieson's team of scientists and nutritionists, like myself, have done the hard work for you. Our multivitamins help and maintain foundational health and well being. Now, let's take a look at what we should consider when shopping for a multivitamin. There are a few questions that you can ask yourself before you go on that next shopping trip. First off, who is this supplement for? Is it for yourself? Is it for somebody else in your household? Or is it for multiple people that are going to be using this product? Is it a gender specific formula that you're looking for? So is it something that's for a man versus a woman? What is the life stage that this supplement is for? So, is this something that's for a child that you care for? Is it for yourself or for another adult? Is it for an older adult, perhaps a parent who's aging? Or is it for somebody who's trying to conceive or is pregnant or breastfeeding? And then, are you looking for certain nutrients? So you might be looking for higher amounts of certain vitamins and minerals or certain additional support nutrients that are going to have a benefit for you or for somebody else versus a different formula. These are all really helpful questions that can then enable you to choose exactly the product that's right for you or for the person you're shopping for. Now, there's lots of terminology out there. One of those terms is 100% complete. So, what does that mean? Well, Jamieson's 100% complete multis have 100% of your daily vitamin needs. So, this is according to Health Canada's recommended daily value or RDA for adults. So, all of our multis have been formulated to ensure that you're getting 100% of all of those vitamins in every single multivitamin pill. And when we go back to thinking about our lifespan and how nutrients change during different stages of life, we also have to consider that sometimes 100% daily value isn't always enough. So we've got personal needs like pregnancy, breastfeeding, or athletes who are going to require more of certain nutrients. People that just need higher support of certain nutrients, perhaps even as a standalone. So, vitamin D, for example, for immunity, or magnesium for relaxation and sleep support. Some people might have difficulty absorbing certain nutrients. So, B12 is one of those. So, looking for a methylated form of that vitamin is going to help ensure that it can get absorbed properly in your body. And we've talked about stress. So everyone experiences some level of stress. And when we're stressed, we need more of certain nutrients, especially antioxidants. And if you are already familiar with Jamieson multivitamins, you may have noticed that our packaging looks a little different than it did before. And that's because we have ditched the outer carton packaging to be more sustainable and have less of an impact on the planet. As someone myself who cares very deeply about the impact that we're having on this earth, I'm very much aligned with what we're doing at Jamieson to continue to lead the way in sustainability in the health and wellness industry. So you'll still see that very characteristic brown bottle with the green cap, just without that carton box. Now let's talk about the different multivitamin formulas that Jamieson has to offer, starting with the general adult formulas. So we've got two overall adult formulas. So these are good for multiple users. So if you've got someone in your household that you're going to be sharing the supplement with, myself, my husband and I use the Essentials Multi-Complex. We don't need to have sex-specific formulas at this point, so we just share the bottle and it makes it really easy. So the 100% complete essential adult formula has 23 vitamins and minerals plus lutein at 100% or more of the RDA for all of those vitamins. It's supporting things like immunity, energy, and good overall health. And it's naturally energizing. There's no gluten, lactose, artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives, and it's a convenient one-a-day formula. Now, if you prefer to have a chewable format, perhaps you already take a lot of different pills, you're getting a little bit pill fatigued, or you just want something that's a little bit more tasty, there's a chewable format also. It has that same number of vitamins and minerals plus lutein, but in a tasty chewable. It's 100% or more of the RDA. It's supporting all of those same aspects of health. There's no gluten, lactose, or gelatin, and no artificial flavors or colors. And it's also a convenient one-a-day formula. So these are great for people that just want to have a general adult formula and something that can be used by multiple users within the household. Then we have our adult multivitamins that are a little bit more specific. So we've got the 50 plus formula. So this is a general multi-formula, but that's focused for people that are over 50 years of age. So looking for those same vitamins and minerals at the 100% RDA values of the vitamins, but also some specific support like the lycopene and having more calcium that's appropriate for people that are aging. There's no gluten, lactose, artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives, and this is also a convenient one-a-day formula. And then if you're just looking for more multivitamin support in general, the Max Strength Multi is providing those 23 vitamins and minerals plus lutein, but some of the vitamins like the B's, the C, and the D are at 200% or more of the RDA. So this is great for people that perhaps are just in need of having extra vitamin support, especially though a lot of those antioxidant vitamins. It's supporting immunity, energy, and good health without lactose, gluten, or artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. And this is also a one-a-day formula. And then we've got our multivitamins for kids. So it's great to have options for children. We know that some kids and teens can be selective with the foods that they're consuming. Sometimes they're not getting enough food, or they're just not always wanting foods that are very well rounded and perhaps the most nutritious. So, this is where multivitamins can provide that extra support and assurance in filling in any gaps within our food that we're not getting from our food. So the chewable kids multi has 17 vitamins and minerals, so it's providing all of those essential nutrients for normal growth and development. Also helps prevent iron deficiency because there is iron in the formula. And it's a tasty grape, cherry, orange, and raspberry flavored chewable tablets. So really makes compliance easy because they're so tasty. And there's no gluten, lactose, artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. And then our kids gummy multi has 11 vitamins and minerals. So all of the things that are needed for normal development in growing children and teens, also supporting immune function. And this comes in orange, cherry, and raspberry flavored gummies with no gluten, lactose, artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. So two really great options. The multi gummies are certainly very popular because gummies are so trending nowadays. But either way, you can rest assured that the kids that you care for are getting all of the nutrients that they need. Then we have some multivitamins that are specific for women. So we have our women's formula and then our 50 plus formula. So the regular women's formula would be appropriate to any woman that is within her reproductive years. It's covering 23 vitamins and minerals at 100% or more of the RDA of the vitamins. And then there's some really key support nutrients that have been added. So cranberry extract being one of them, supporting UTIs because this unfortunately is something that a lot of women deal with. Lutein for eye support, lycopene, and then also iron. So again, this is great for women that are in that reproductive years who are still menstruating and need that iron support. It's supporting immunity, energy, and overall health. No gluten, lactose, artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives, and a one-a-day formula. And then our 50 plus women's formula is again tailored for women's support and focusing in on some of the things that women need when they are over 50 years of age. So providing those base vitamins and minerals plus lutein at 100% of the RDA. And then also including cranberry because UTIs are something that menopausal women can also experience. And then increased chromium. Chromium is really important for blood sugar stability. And then magnesium. This is essential for bone health and muscle function. And this is also that easy one-a-day formula. And then also for women who are in those reproductive years of life, who are either looking to conceive, who perhaps have conceived and are pregnant, or who are breastfeeding, we've got prenatal vitamins that are designed to provide that peace of mind for expectant mothers. These formulas include folic acid to prevent neural tube deficits in the early stages of pregnancy, and they're gentle on the stomach. So all of these formulas are providing 100% or more of the daily vitamin needs that are recommended by Health Canada for women that are trying to conceive, who are pregnant or breastfeeding. So 24 vitamins and minerals in all of the formulas. Our regular prenatal is formulated with folic acid as well as iron, and this is a convenient one-a-day formula. We also have our prenatal plus DHA. So DHA is really important for brain growth and development, particularly in the early stages of pregnancy. So this is a one a day formula. And then our chewable prenatal. This is great for women who perhaps aren't loving having to swallow pills, might be experiencing some nausea, and are just looking to have something that's a little bit easier by chewing a chewable rather than swallowing a pill. So it's a really tasty cranberry apple flavor, providing 100% of that RDA of vitamins. And this is also formulated with iron and folic acid, and it's one a day. And then next, we've got our multivitamins for men. So we have a regular men's formula and then a men's 50 plus formula. So both of these have 23 vitamins and minerals plus lutein for eye support, and they're providing 100% or more of the RDA of vitamins. So the men's multi formula has some additional support nutrients, including selenium, lycopene, and Siberian ginseng, supporting immunity, energy, and overall health with no gluten, lactose, artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives in a one a day formula. And the 50 plus formula is focusing in on more magnesium plus the lutein and Siberian ginseng for energy support for men that are over 50 years of age who are starting to see some changes based on that age. And we have a variety of gummy formats because I said, as I shared, that gummy formats are definitely trending. It's how a lot of people are choosing to take their vitamins now. We also have a variety of different multivitamin formats in gummies. So adults, women specific, men specific, and for men that are 50 plus. Now, before we wrap up, let's just review. So we're going to recenter ourselves and just go back to where you are in your journey for health. I want you to think about all the things that we've just talked about. We have very different goals based on who we are. We are all unique, and therefore our goals are also unique. So take a moment to check in, see what areas you would like to give some extra attention to. So perhaps it's that you're going to try and move your body more in some intentional way. Perhaps it's something from a nutrition perspective. You're going to add in that one extra glass of water, or you're going to reach for a different vegetable the next time you're shopping for groceries. It could be mindfulness, giving yourself that moment to take a break, to practice gratitude, to give yourself some cleansing breaths, and incorporating a multivitamin so that you can fill in all of the gaps. I just want everyone to remember that um, it's important to have these check-ins, to think about these pillars of health, to be gentle with yourselves, and to work slowly at it. You don't have to do everything all at once. It could be one small thing that you're working on just for this week, and then next week you'll reintroduce something that's new, so you can slowly build up those new healthy habits. All right, and with that, we are at the end of the presentation. I want to thank you so much for joining and thank Healthy Planet for hosting this webinar. And remind you, Healthy Planet is offering 20% off of Jamieson Multis until November 12th in store. So make sure that you pop into the Healthy Planet store near you and go to the multivitamin section to get a multi that's going to work for what your specific needs are, and take advantage of the 20% off on the Jamieson multis. I'll just check to see if there's any questions in the chat, but again, thank you so much for joining today.